So much for being here today. District Court Judge held Talecka Brown, who is a suspect in the shooting of a 13-year-old. That 13-year-old is her biological daughter. This case is very concerning to us. We are very satisfied that the judge in this case held Ms. Brown without bond, noting that there were no conditions upon which she could be released that would ensure the security and safety of the public or the victim in this case, again, who is 13 years old. The facts in this case are very egregious, very sad. We are praying that the young victim in this case makes a full recovery. We know that it's going to take some time for her to recover from her physical injuries, but her emotional injuries, that may last a lifetime. And so, again, we are satisfied that today the district court judge did agree with us. Prosecutor ASA Souls did represent the state. If there are any additional questions that you might have, I will allow ASA Souls to answer those more technical questions, but again, we are satisfied with today's bond hearing outcome.
Could you talk a little bit more about that voicemail? So apparently the defendant left a voicemail with the child's father, it sounds like.
She did.
And she didn't express any kind of concern for her at all?
That is correct. She did leave a voicemail this morning for the child's father, and no, at no time did she express any concern for how her child was doing.
And that call was also concerning in that, did you feel like she said that she doesn't show up and this goes away? What was that saying?
That was concerning to the state because obviously with her being 13 years old, she's very impressionable. And that's our concern, is that it's her mother. She's going to listen to her mother. And so we don't want her to be tainted in any way by the pressure.
Can you talk a little bit more about why you think she's a danger to the larger community and she needs to be held without bond?
Well, let me say this. There's not, we can only kind of talk about what came out in the courtroom today. So we don't want to make any additional representations that were not set forth in the court this afternoon.
The weapon that was used, do you at this point know if it was registered to her, Ms. Brown?
I don't know at this time.
There was a weapon recovered according to charging documents.
That is correct.
Did they determine if that was the actual use of the gun?
Not at this time. The investigation is still ongoing.
Is there anything you could say about the nature of the argument that led to the incident in the charging documents?
No, I don't have any information about that argument as of yet.
And do you have any insight? We learned in court today that the victim in this case is able to go use the restroom physically, but do you have any information about how her recovery looks?
No, I don't at this time. I did speak to her father. They're still waiting for doctors to confirm, but he doesn't have any information at this moment.
There was some concern about paralysis. Is she out of the woods on that, given the fact that she's up and about?
As far as I know, yes.
A little hard here. That voicemail that we referred to, can you tell us verbatim, was it if she doesn't show up at court or doesn't say anything? Can you just elaborate what she actually told her father?
Yes, the state, if she doesn't make a statement and if she doesn't come.
Then this all goes away?
Correct.
Okay.
Can you talk about if Brown had a history of violence before this incident?
Not that we know of.
There was a previous domestic incident that she was apparently involved in a year or so ago, last year. Are you able to talk about that? I know, like, we have to protect domestic violence victims. Is that also sort of a family situation? And the final order was denied.
I don't have any information as to that.
Okay.
I do have one question. Given the nature of this, the relationship between Brown and the victim at this point, her daughter being the victim, how does something like this impact the surrounding community when something like this happens?
I think any shooting in Prince George's County impacts the community. I think violence to children impacts the community just as a whole in general. I mean, I think it's something that is felt throughout our entire community. I mean, you're all here because it's felt throughout our community. It's something that people want to know, and it's concerning to all of us. That's why we're taking this case so seriously.
In addition to that, next week we will be inviting you to a press conference where we will be outlining our new initiative to end family violence here in Prince George's County. What we have really noted over time, and this case highlights, is that violence doesn't just occur between intimate partners, that it can occur between individuals who have different types of familial relationships. And while no one thinks that a mother would shoot her very own daughter, no one can conceive of that, these incidents do happen. And they happen for a variety of reasons. But our goal is to prevent these incidents from becoming tragedies, to begin to address those underlying issues that lead to this type of violence. But in this case, we will pursue justice for our young victim. We intend to vigorously pursue this case and continue to protect this victim and our entire community. So thank you very much, and we hope to see you next week.
Are you able to address the gun at all? So how she came upon this? Apparently she told investigators that there was a gun in the house in the safe, but it wasn't hers.
So some of this information we will be able to maybe elaborate more on as this case moves forward, but at this time it's still under investigation. It's still early, and I would prefer not to make statements that we would have to correct later. So I think we're good on providing details, as many details as we can.
You heard in court that the victim in this case, or excuse me, the mother in this case, tried to influence her daughter to change her story. Is there anything you could say about how that factored into all of this?
So, I mean, when we look at whether or not an individual should be released, or conditions upon which an individual would be released, we look at things like their impact, their dangerousness to the victim, to the larger community, and making statements such as that makes us concerned that the victim, in this case, would be attempted to be influenced by the defendant in this case, and we're very concerned about that. And there's not a lot we can do to protect the victim from an individual who wants to communicate with them, especially a parent. So, because we don't know how she could potentially try to communicate with her, we know that at least appears to be an interest of hers, is to influence her daughter based on those statements. I think the judge agreed with us that was very concerning.